I'm going to talk about more of this function stuff. Okay? Okay. We are recording. Okay.
So they can't come home to visit at all. And he won't know where he's going until
All right, here we go. We need to talk about rational functions.
What a cool experience, but that's hard just to get us and not know where you're going.
Okay, so we have rational functions. All right, we've got to talk about things like if f of x is equal to x squared minus 9 over 3x squared minus 4. Let us talk about vertical asymptotes. How do I find them?
Set the bottom equal to 0.
Okay, set the bottom equal to 0. 3x squared minus 4 equals 0. 3x squared equals 4. X squared equals 4 thirds. X equals plus or minus 2 over radical 3. Okay, so, but if I wanted to prove this with calculus, I have to say the limit as x goes toward 2 over radical 3 from the left, the limit as x goes to 2 over radical 3 from the right, the limit as x goes to negative 2 over radical 3 from the left, and the limit as x goes toward negative 2 over radical 3 from the right. Yep. If they just ask you what it is, you can do this. But if you have to prove that those are vertical asymptotes, you have to do this, and these should come out to be positive and negative infinity.
Are we going to have to prove most of the tests?
No, really not. But if you were asked to, you have to do this. Yeah, the free response part.
How many of those?
How many of those? 6.
6.
There are 6 free response. 2 with a calculator for 30 minutes and 4 without a calculator for 60 minutes.
How long did the test take overall?
Okay,
How long did the test take?
guys, we have talked about this before. One more time, quickly. There are 17 multiple choice questions.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
50 minutes with a calculator. Hardest questions on the test. That's what they told me. Hardest questions.
Awesome.
9 of which are usually with a calculator, 8 of which are usually not. And the kid said, don't waste your time doing the ones without a calculator with a calculator. Okay? They said you'll be able to answer it without a calculator and it's quicker. Okay. 28 multiple choice questions, 55 minutes, no calculator. They told me the easiest questions on the test. These. Right there. Okay, if you know your rules, good to go. 2 free response questions, 30 minutes, that's with a calculator. There's the ones that have A, B, C, D. Okay? Do not, they told me, if you can't do A, go ahead and do B. Because usually they don't hinge on each other. Okay? 4 free response questions after that, no calculator. Okay, so you can see that these free response questions, average time, 15 minutes apiece. Okay, average time for these, 3. Average time for these, 2. Okay, do you see that? That's why when we're doing these multiple choice now, I'm going to start timing them. You're not done in 2 minutes for each question, we guess it. Because that's your kind of time you're going to have on the AP test. Okay. All right, now, moving right along. Here we are, back over here. This, if you want to prove this, you would have to do these limits, and these should come out to be positive and negative infinity. If you graph this thing, you'd be able to tell where these are and what's going on. Okay, now, how about horizontal asymptotes? What are the horizontal asymptotes? Anybody? 1/3. Y equals 1/3. The degree of the top was 1. The degree of the top was 2. The degree of the bottom was 2. Therefore, it's the coefficients in front 1/3, right? Okay. Now, that is the algebra. But we have to do limit as I go toward negative infinity. Limit as I go toward positive infinity. This is the proof. Okay. Put your phone away. All right, now, how about if I had y equals 3x cubed plus 7x plus 9 divided by x squared plus 6? What kind of asymptote do we have? Slant. Slant asymptote, because the degree of the top is 1 more than the degree of the bottom. Right? Okay, so how do I figure that out? Long division. So we have x squared plus 6 divided into 3x cubed plus 7x plus 9. 3x would be 18x, would be 3x cubed, subtracting, right? Now, does x squared go into negative 9x? No. So, y equals 3x would be our slant asymptote. Okay? All right, now, let's see. All right, let's go on to your next favorite thing. What is this function? Bless you.
Yeah, the stair step.
Yeah, this is the stair step, greatest integer function. Greatest integer function. That's the one that looks like the little stair step. That one's up too far. Okay, the one that goes looking like that goes up, 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 right? Okay, now, next thing I want to talk to you about, though, is these are your real all-time favorites. Right? Trig functions, all-time favorites. Right? Right. Okay. Y equals A. Let's talk about sine or cosine. B x minus C plus D. Now, I'm talking about these first because these are the only two that have amplitude. A stands for amplitude. All right. What does B help me do? 2 pi divided by B equals the period. X minus C. C, all right, this is phase shift. And it's C units right. X plus C, which is really X minus negative C, is C units left. Okay. And then what about D? Vertical shift. We have plus D, we're going up. Minus D, we're going down. Right? Okay. Okay. Now, let's talk about the others now. What about y equals cosecant x, y equals secant x, y equals tan x, y equals cotangent x? First thing, no amplitude. They have what? Stretch or shrink. If the A guy in the front is greater than 1, what do we have? Stretch. If we have A and it is less than 1 but bigger than 0, meaning it's a fraction, right? Like 1/3, not a fraction like 5/2, a fraction like 1/3. And this means whether it's negative or positive. But if it's a fraction there, what do we have? Shrink. Think about tangent. When you have the tangent, you've got that squiggly line, right? So if you stretch it, you pull it up. If you shrink, you smash it down. Okay? Okay. Now, what about the period? Okay. Secant and cosecant are 2 pi divided by b. But cotangent and tangent are what? Pi divided by b. All right, how about the phase shift or the vertical shift? Okay, they're the same as sine and cosine were. You move right or you move left or you move up or you move down. Same thing. Okay, so they're pretty easy. All right, now, so let's talk about one of these. Let's do y y equals 2/3 cosine 5/9 x plus 2 minus 4. Step 1, what do I do? If I want to get the amplitude, all that stuff, what am I going to do with this?
Find out 5 minutes.
Yeah, I got to get that b out of there, don't I? I have to say y equals 2/3 cosine 5/9 times x plus what? (18/5)? How did I get that? 2 divided by 5/9 is 18/5. And if I say 5/9 times 18/5, what do I get? 2. Okay, so now I can say the amplitude is 2/3. The period is 2 pi divided by 5/9, which is 18 pi over 5. Right? 18 pi, yeah. How about phase shift? 18/5 left. And how about vertical shift?
Down 4.
Okay, down 4. So everybody's good with that? Yes? Okay. Alright, what else did I talk to them about? Oh, this is where we started getting crazy. This is... The next thing we need to talk about is identity. Sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. Now, if I divide everybody by cosine, what do I get? Plus 1 equals secant squared x. If I take this original one and now I divide everybody by sine, what do I get? Sine over sine is 1. Cosine squared over sine squared is cotangent squared equals 1 over cosine is, no, I'm sorry, 1 over sine squared is cosecant squared x. So those are the 3 identities. The only one you really need to memorize is this first one, and then if you just do division, you can get the other 2. Okay, the other biggie is sine 2 theta equals 2 sine theta cosine theta. Alright. Now, this is the other one. Cosine 2 theta equals cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. Now, there are 2 other identities, but if you know this one, you can get the other 2, because I can write this as 1 minus cosine squared theta equals sine squared theta, or 1 minus sine squared theta equals cosine squared theta. Okay, so cosine squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. So I have cosine 2 theta equals 1 minus sine squared theta minus sine squared theta. So cosine 2 theta equals 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. Okay, the other one is, if I started out with cosine 2 theta equals cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. And I substituted in what sine squared was equal to. I would have cosine 2 theta equals cosine squared theta minus 1 minus cosine squared theta. So I would get cosine 2 theta equals 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. And somebody surely will ask, why would I need to know those? Because of the following problem, which you could be asked. Please integrate for me sine squared theta d theta. We don't know how unless we do an identity. Okay, I know that cosine 2 theta equals 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. So, 2 sine squared theta equals 1 minus cosine 2 theta. Sine squared theta equals 1 minus cosine 2 theta divided by 2. So, now when I put this in here, I get 1 minus cosine 2 theta over 2 d theta. So, I could do this. I could say 1/2 the integral of 1 d theta minus 1/2 the integral of cosine 2 theta d theta. So all I did was take my 1/2 out of each one of them and split it. Because the 1/2 does go with both of them, because both of them are being divided by 2. Okay, now, this right here is no big deal, because I had to say 1/2 theta. This thing is a U substitution, which is another one of your favorites. U equals 2 theta. Du equals 2 d theta. 1/2 du equals d theta. So then I have minus 1/2 the integral of cosine u 1/2 du. So now I have 1/2 theta minus 1/4 the integral of cosine u du. If I go backwards with cosine, what do I get? Sine. So now I have 1/2 theta minus 1/4 sine u plus c. So my final answer is 1/2 theta minus 1/4 sine 2 theta plus c. Okay, now, Cole told me we needed to go over that again, probably right before the test, so that everyone would remember it. But they usually ask that at least once somewhere in the test. Okay, I'm just saying. Because they're testing to see a couple of things. Alright? They're testing to see if you know your identities. They're testing to see if you know how to integrate a sine or a cosine. They're testing to see if you know how to use substitution. So they could give 3 or 4 points just for that. I'm just saying, they're testing a lot of things there. So, just want you to be aware. Alright, let me see what else is on my notes. I have lots of notes. Oh! Memorize your chart. Okay? Like, this. Sine of 5 pi over 6. G. That is all the way over here. I've got pi over 6 left. That's 30. So this is 1, 2, radical 3. What sign of that? 1/2. Do you know those? Know them. You need to know your 30s, your 60s, your 45s. Okay, and how to go around. You also need to know the 90, the 180, that stuff. That I tell you all the time, but everybody's like, okay. Don't forget tonight, if you have not finished paying for your AP test, tonight's tonight. It's got to be done by tonight. Okay. Okay, y equals b to the x. Domain. Negative infinity to infinity. Range. Zero to infinity. Because if you graph that, that's what it does. What is b to the 0 power? What's b to the first power? B. Okay, how about these rules? B to the x times b to the y is b to the x plus y. B to the x divided by b to the y is equal to b to the x minus y, as long as b to the y doesn't equal 0. Okay, how about b to the x raised to the y? B to the xy. Alright, how about b to the negative x? 1 over b to the x. Alright. Log of b a equals p. B, my base, raised to my power, equals my answer. This, if you think about it, I don't know who teaches this, but there's somebody around here who teaches this. B raised to this power gives me this answer. It's a circle. Huh? Okay? I mean, that's how I taught it when I taught Algebra 2, but that's a long time ago. Okay, let's remember some other stuff. Log base b of 1 equals 0. Log base b of b equals 1. Log base b of x plus log base b of y equals log base b of xy. Log base b of x minus log base b of y equals log base b of x divided by y. Log base b of x raised to the y power equals y times log base b of x. Okay, how about if I have log base or log of e? What is that really? ln, right, natural log. This really should be, this shouldn't be written like this. This should be written as, that should be the base, that e guy. Okay? Do we have any stickers? Stickers are your friend. log base E equals ln. Okay, now, who remembers what a piecewise function is? Who remembers stuff like this? F of x is equal to x plus 2 if x is less than 1, and 2 minus x if x is greater than or equal to 1. That's a piecewise. You can have more than 2 pieces. Okay, so let's draw a graph. Alright, we pretend we can be at 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, so I have an open circle there. Alright, how about 0 plus 2 is 2. Negative 1 plus 2 is, negative 1 plus 1 is, negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So this is a line going down like this. Alright, now, how about 2 minus x? And we are allowed to be 1. What's 2 minus 1? 1. What's 2 minus 2? Alright, so we've got this going down this way. Alright, somebody talk to me about domain. Alright, somebody talk to me about range. Negative infinity, right? Going all the way up to where? Almost 3, right? So 3 would not be included. Okay. Now, if I use any of the following words, what do I mean? Where crosses the x-axis? So if they ask you to find the zeros, or they ask you to find the roots, or they ask you to find the solutions, same thing. All of those are asking you the same thing. Okay. Oh, and then I talk about slope. Talk to me about slope. What is slope? Slope equals rise over run. Delta y over delta x. Y minus y1 over x minus x1, symbolized by a tiny m. Okay, if m1 equals m2, what can you tell me about the lines? L1 is parallel to L2. If m1 times m2 equals -1, what can you tell me about the lines? Perpendicular. Why? Because what this means is really this guy, m1, is multiplying by -1 over m1. That's the only way that's going to happen. So if one of them's a 5, the other guy's -1/5. If one of them is -14, the other one is 1/14. Okay, negative reciprocals of each other. Okay? Alright, so I'm hoping that you really truly know about slope and we don't actually have to do any of those. Alright, now, what does this mean? What does that mean? if this is your normal graph, what does that mean? Flipped. He's flipped, right? Every single guy took on the opposite value. So, if this was 5, this guy would be negative 5. And he'd be flipped over the x-axis. All right, now, on Monday, we are going to work out some problems. Well, if we're not here, we'll do them on Tuesday. We are all praying it's not going to ice like that. That would be really bad. I really don't care. Now, is that a good attitude?